Good morning. Welcome to the Mayor's Weekly, and as I say every week, we're pleased to have you with us, and thank you for having an interest in your city. Joining me today is Brent McCarver, our city planner, and what we want to do this morning is give you an update on a number of projects across our city that have been in the works for some time, and tell you what we know as of today, and everything we have to report to you is positive. Prior to getting into that, one of the things that I want to share with you, when we talk about these projects, what we report to you is exactly what we hear from the leadership of these entities that are considering coming to Jasper, that sort of thing. There's no fabrication. We don't embellish things. We report to you exactly what we know, and so we're going to move along. We have several to report on today. The first one that we'll report on is Rural King. Back early summer, we struck an agreement with Rural King to locate in Jasper at the former Kmart location. Part of that was the acquisition of that property, the acreage associated with that property, and they had hoped to have that deal consummated some 90 days after we signed our agreement. It proved more challenging. The particulars of that I don't know and shouldn't know, but what we learned a week ago, this past Friday, they consummated the acquisition of the property. The agreement that we have with Rural King remain intact with their commitment to this city to be in operation by the third quarter of 2024. Now, Brent, so much of what happens in this city and developments and people considering the first stopping point is in our city planning department. Brent, just a little update on what you know about Rural King, and then we'll move on to another project.
We spent yesterday back and forth with their attorney, Mr. Choate. They have signed everything legally, so they, for all intents and purposes, they own that portion of the building. And just the little bit that I can add that I've learned, part of the, I think, gray area that they were dealing with on closing, if you can imagine being inside the mall, and Dunham's is a good way to think of it, you used to have access to Kmart from inside the mall. Yeah. They were a little questioning, I guess, of where that line is in the structure that they own and the mall starts. So I think that was some of the question there, and what they may do on the inside, but that's all done, that's handled. They're engineers and architects. We've talked to them over the last couple of weeks. They've already submitted sign permit requests for changing the signage both out at the highway and on the building, and they believe, of course, it's winter, the weather gets involved, but all of their work's really inside. So I think we get through the Christmas holidays, that's going to start rolling pretty quickly.
Well, knowing that the agreement calls for them to be operational in the third quarter of 2024, the work has to begin quickly. So that's good news, and to be honest with you, we were a little concerned. We knew that they were having challenges in their negotiation, did not know the particulars, but today we know they've acquired the property. We know that the city will pay over its economic incentive payment soon. That's already agreed upon, and they will call on that, I would think, in the next week or so. Now, Brent, we move on to another big project that we announced maybe toward the end of summer or whatever, and we'll call it the Starbucks project. And I know you've had a considerable amount of contact with that.
This has probably been the most, I don't want to use the word frustrating, because it's just seems like every time we crossed one bridge, we had another creek in front of us. But it is, one of the things with it is you have Overland Development, which is the developer of the whole piece of property there. We call it the old Nissan. There's three entities on one property. and it's behind Jasper Auto Sales between Viking and 118. So you've got them developing the dirt, but then within it you have Starbucks, Whataburger, and Mavis are three independent companies that will be actually building the buildings. The main issue, though, to be really honest, we got all the way through the requirements we needed with Planning Commission and started getting these people on the same page, and engineers, architects, and we had an issue with ALDOT, which is completely understandable. Between this project becoming a reality and today, we know now there's going to be some changes to Highway 118, starting with, and I know we'll talk about it in a minute, starting with there at Sonic and Jones Dairy, all the way back to the bridge at 9th Avenue. ALDOT did not approve their, what we say, their ingress egress off of Highway 118 or Old 78. They did not like or agree with their entrance and exit. So once you get the state involved, they had to redraw what was already approved, submit it back to the state, and then it just kind of creeped through the state. Not a lot we can do about it. The local folks were really helpful with it. But great news, we did this week. We got the approval letter from ALDOT on the new plan for the way you'll enter and exit. It'll basically be a right in, right out. There on the Starbucks end, they will also be putting on, which we're fine with, we've already approved, there will be exits and entrances off Viking as well. But so the first one that we have approved plans on, and we should be getting them a building permit, hopefully, if not in the next, say, couple of days, at least by the end of next week, for Starbucks. We got their construction plans. They're, soon as we can get them a permit, they're ready to put shovels in the ground. They'll be starting to do demolition work. Overland Development will for the building. Probably, though, now that everything's gotten to this point, it's probably going to go on past Christmas before they start, instead of starting a week and then taking off a week. So, but now we've received the drawings last week for Whataburger. I have not heard anything from Mavis, but they're assigned onto the deal as well. So I think you'll start again first of the year. Sometime in January, you'll start seeing construction on Starbucks.
Well, Brent, if you were standing on Highway 118 and looking at this property, you would be looking somewhat southwest.
Mm-hmm.
To your left, the first one would be Starbucks, and the
Yes.
middle would be Whataburger,
Whataburger.
and then Mavis Tire.
Mavis Tire, yeah, and if you want to even try to get it a little bit more in your mind, Mavis Tire will be pretty much where the existing Nissan building is to the back half. They are each going to have their own parking areas and all that, but of course it'll be, if you were a bird, it's one shared parking area with three buildings in it. But technically, for me, for engineering, they're building their own little spots in there. But yeah, it'll be Starbucks, Whataburger, Mavis.
Okay, good. So we could probably expect to see activity on that site partly by the first of the year.
Yeah, I'm pretty positive of that.
Right. Now, we move on to the Industrial Parkway. We have not announced this project. We will announce this project, and we were this close to making the announcement when the company hit some challenges, none of which they had anything to do with, and they're being worked through. Quick Trip Travel Center that will be located on Industrial Parkway, just facing Industrial Parkway, and where you would ramp up to go west on I-22. And Brent, I know that project from day one came to you, and you built a great working relationship with their folks. Give us an update on where that's at.
I spoke with Eric, their project manager, this week. They are, I guess not to get too deep in the weeds, but what ended up happening on the property they've got is they came across basically a dry creek bed that ends up getting you into the Army Corps of Engineers and Alabama Department of Environmental Management, some permitting in there. Their first permit request came back with and you and I both raised our eyebrows, with over 50,000 square feet of dirt they couldn't touch.
Which is a little over an acre. Yeah.
And, that, with all other things, drainage and different things, that sort of, but what they ended up doing is going back, and they had resubmitted September 1st. I believe we were going to try to announce right around that time. They resubmitted for some new permit requirements. And anyway, they have their confirmation from the Corps, Army Corps of Engineers, that they're going to approve what's called a no permit required letter. That letter will go to ADEM, which should have happened or will happen any day now. And then ADEM will release their environmental impact permit, which would allow them to start work. They have set February. Go ahead, I guess this is kind of like announcing it, but we hope to be able to stand with them and make a big announcement in February. And they'd like to be in by latest by the end of third quarter, first to fourth quarter next year.
Okay.
This is about an 8,500 square foot facility, 16 gas pumps. I mean, it's a true travel center. I think they only have one in the state of Alabama right now, and it's not this size. We will have the largest one, I understand it, in Alabama at that point.
Brent, there was some talk of a training facility. Any more talk about that?
Still looking to use it as a regional facility for any of their C-store managers. And then, I'll just say this, they don't have a distribution center east of the Mississippi River, so we hope to develop a relationship with them as a company and see what might come down the road.
Okay. Well, Brent, now let's move along to the Alabama Department of Transportation. We have Jasper is located in the Fayette region of Alabama Department of Transportation. Prior to that, we're in the Birmingham region, and I can tell you that we're much better served being in the Fayette region. It seems that we, I won't say substandard treatment when we're in the Birmingham region, but we didn't miss it by much.
That's
right. And the Fayette folks, so good to work with and receptive to our comments, that sort of thing. And we had the senior leadership from the Fayette region in town a few weeks ago for lunch and had a most delightful time. And one of the things that I won't say is people make this decision if it's a hallmark of this administration, but building relationships has paid big dividends, and we put our hands on lots of them. The relationship with the Alabama Department of Transportation has proven just that. 2 or 3 things going on, Brent. Let's go west to east. Let's go to the bridge that crosses over what I call 78.
Right.
Takes traffic from 9th Avenue to 195 and then move out to 118.
We, at no cost to us, or the county, or anyone, that's actually a really, really big deal. The state ALDOT will be taking down the overpass that currently crosses 78 at 9th Avenue at Sons. Of course, that's, we've always said, I don't know what the answer is, but there needs to be some change there. It's hard to get off and on there, and it's pretty narrow. It did fall under, not to frighten you between now and when it happens, but it did also fall under the state's Rebuild Alabama. It's old. The bridge is old, so it needed some structural upgrades anyway. So they're going to take that bridge down. It'll be widened. We're going to have some traffic lights there. You'll have a better sight line, and actually that work will go back to where it splits for 195. We'll work on that intersection there at the Chevron station. All of this is a state project. Again, as I said, it's not costing the city a penny. They're paying for all of that. It initially the contract and all has been set, and the start date on the contract was technically December 7th. That's going to get put off until after Christmas, which I'm glad of. I think that's going to be the right thing to do with the amount of traffic that's going to come and go during the Christmas holidays. But what will basically happen is they'll take the bridge down. It'll be estimated about an 18-month project. You will be able to, if you're going west to east, You'll still be able to use the off-ramp to come up and then turn right on 9th to go back into town. If you're traveling east or west, you will still be able to use the off-ramp, turn right to go north on 5. The others will have detours, and I should have gotten the name of my street. I believe it's 18th. But if you're coming west to east, basically back there around like Marvin's and Ollie's and all of that, you'll turn there, route up to Studdard Road, and then come out on 5 that way. If you're coming the other direction, you'll turn at Oak Hill, or, to be really honest, we would prefer you come back a little further and go on Airport Road. We're going to have to work on the traffic portion of it, but it would be easier, especially for larger cargo, turn on Airport Road and go out to 257. But so there will be some congestion there, but once you're done, we'll have a wider bridge. You'll have a little traffic light there, which will help with the congestion. You know, when Sun's parking lot's full, Parkland's full, Jack's is full, it's hard to make a turn in there. So that'll be a big, and of course there'll be some paving done right in there. The off-ramps themselves, that'll be upgraded as far as the hillside there. It'll of course obviously look better as well.
Right. Well, Brent, you talked about it doesn't cost a penny. The magnitude of that project is what AlDOT tells us. It's a $9 million project. It doesn't cost this city one penny. Building relationships. It's an important thing.
Has value.
It's an important thing. Now, Brent, let's talk about, there's been a little delay out on the Jones Dairy Road 118. And
actually, I met, as a matter of fact, this morning I was meeting with our engineer, Stefan Graber, and we were talking about that. The snag in it was when they got ready. Again, that project is led also, and we thought it was going to start actually in November, last week of November. Snag there is when they got out there, there's some concrete involved, some islands, some additional lanes that'll be in there, and the decision was made or looked at that there would be some drainage issues, some pooling around the concrete islands. So they had to go back and get that re-engineered. Sane was involved in that. That project, or that part of the project, has been done and has been corrected. To be perfectly honest, the best answer I've gotten right now is then we've hit this 29-degree weather, and pouring the concrete and getting it to set and all of this kind of stuff. I think that's what probably has slowed it down. I do not have, unfortunately, I was trying to get it before we got on this morning. I do not have a definite time, a day or a date when they're going to start. Of course, you see all of the barrels are out there and everything's ready to go. So that is done construction that is doing the majority of the work. But the good news is the concrete portion is Robert Gillespie, who's local, Jasper contractor. That's another great thing with relationships. You want to get as much work for your local people as you can. So when they drop the ball and start it, the first portion is the concrete, and I think, again, we're local, so that should happen pretty quickly. But unfortunately, I don't have I would assume, Mayor, to be really honest, it's probably going to pass Christmas now that we've gotten this close. We've still got some cold days ahead, cold nights, so I would feel more comfortable saying probably back now first of the year.
okay. The next project, I told you we had the group from AlDOT into Jasper for lunch just a few weeks ago. I get a call from one of their senior leaders week before last, and he said, David, at the lunch meeting, we promised the city some paving, and I thought, well, I missed that. Mm-hmm. So I went to Kathy Shamliss, who was in the meeting. I said, did you hear? She said, no, I didn't hear them promise anything. I go back to building relationship. Here's what you're going to see. It would be happening this week. Weather has gotten away. Where you ramp down off of I-22 on the industrial, which is just north of Cracker Barrel,
right.
That area, that stretch of road there is wearing. is to be expected. There's been a lot of activity there, and it has not been resurfaced since the State Highway Department is going to resurface where you come down on the industrial. I hope they go all the way back to White House Road. Don't know that that will be the case, but we've already made arrangements to support them with barricades and police support, that sort of thing. You'll see that happening, and Brent, the way I looked at that is that lunch probably turned into a couple $100,000
Yes.
worth of work.
No
That's
question.
about the only way you can
No
describe it. But and what it means to the city is that stretch of road that's in most need of paving. We're going to get that free, so that extends the life of that stretch of road, which is beneficial to the city. The last thing I'll share with you, we talked about free Wi-Fi in downtown Jasper. These projects all take longer than we want them to. Next week, I have a meeting with the technology folks that will be installing the equipment to make that a reality. They're telling me in their electronic communication that they hope things will get underway in January, but that's all in place. It just got to make it happen, getting the equipment in, and look forward to meeting with those folks, and we'll update you as we know more about the timelines. But so that's a pretty good overview of what's going on in the city. Again, I reiterate, what we report to you is exactly what's reported to us by the leadership of these various entities, and nothing that we've made up or added to or whatever. And like I said, we would like some of these projects to move faster, but they're real, they're going to happen, and it's just the nature of the game.
That's right.
And
That's right.
so now, Brent, we'll wrap up with this. The city is drawing a lot of attention.
A lot. We had a call, I was going to say, had a call yesterday late. You mentioned the Quick Trip and the Starbucks both. I was on the phone yesterday with an engineer out of Virginia that was interested, and it started out questioning what the zoning was of a piece of property. Got into some of the demographic questions, and they represent, I looked them up after I got off the phone. I've learned to do that in my year.
Yeah.
Looked them up, searched them. They represent a lot of large retail developments and hospitality. So, you just never know. It could be a year, it could be 2 weeks down the road, but the same way Quick Trip and the same way Starbucks happened, this call was made. So we get those calls multiple times during the week.
Yeah, and we're told if you drive to the end of the Industrial Parkway where it intersects White House Road and look to your left, there's a vacant site there. We're told by realtors that a lodging facility for that area is a given, and maybe some other things there. So it's good to be on people's radar screens, and we I talk about this and probably wear Brent out with it about being proactive, helping these folks, and doing everything in our power to bring them to Jasper. It's making a difference, and we're excited about that. So glad to have you with us. We've shared a lot of information with you. If you'd like additional information, please let us know, and we'll get it together for you.